Well, I made it back to the top of the cliff and my phone isn't broken, so that's always nice. So I think I'm going to give this one more shot. Hopefully the wind or evil spirits or whatever aren't going to throw my phone off the cliff again. We're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off. From a hard red and blue piece of streaked cedar he made an atlatl, which he carved into the likeness of the family animus, the serpent, and he became quite adept in its use. Often he would wrap the tips of his long darts in grasses coated with pitch, which he would light on fire to burn the villages he looted, for he greatly loved the sight of flames and the terror it evoked in his enemies. He and his men called the atlatl Zwiquatl, the fire serpent. At the mouth of the canyon where their village was located, Tutu met his son and the returning war party soon after his election as war chief. The warriors each bore a heavy satchel stuffed with food and goods from the defeated villages, and a string of captives, mostly women and children, followed, tethered together by their necks with rope. A few beaten and humbled men led the captives, with hands bound behind their backs as well. Tutu shook his head, addressing the war party, but especially his son. "Why would you do this thing?" he asked quietly, his bold confidence gone. "Have you heard nothing of what your mother and I have taught you?" "I've heard you, old man," spat Huitzilopochtli. "You are no more than the pathetic animals and slaves you so love." As he spoke, his warriors fanned out around Tutu in full view of the village and the cliffs below. Tutu watched as they fully surrounded him, brandishing spears or raising their war clubs and shields. Again Tutu shook his head, saying, "Did I not lead you to victory against the people of Tlaloc and the fires they unleashed upon us? There is a place for us yet farther to the south. The Great Spirit has shown me this in prayer." "There's no place for you to the south," said Huitzilopochtli. "There is no place for you at all. The Great Spirit is impotent before the power of Tlaloc, my power. Tezcatlipoca, the watcher in the mirror, has told me this. Your time is past." At this, all the warriors in the circle lunged forward, thrusting spears at Tutu. Tutu twisted and rolled, grasping his spear shaft and directing it into the gut of the warrior across the circle, while sweeping the feet out from under another warrior. The tripped warrior fell into several of his comrades and foiled their strikes, and Huitzilopochtli's spear tore out another's throat. Huitzilopochtli jumped back before Tutu could roll to his feet. Over the groans of the impaled warrior, Tutu said, "Do not do this. There can still be peace between us. I forgive you this arrogance." Tutu's words only seemed to enrage Huitzilopochtli, and he roared as he drove the spear home in his father's chest. The other warriors followed suit, stabbing and stabbing again as he fell to the ground, and stabbing still more after he was clearly dead. Triumphantly, Huitzilopochtli returned to the village high among the cliffs in the canyon, which by then had been fortified with stone walls and towers at Coatliqui's direction. "Mother!" he shouted from the cliff top in front of the cave. "I am the greatest warrior in all the lands! My warriors have declared me war chief, far greater than my father Tutu ever was. It is time that I command the people of Aztlan and regain the favor of the gods." Coatliqui came out of her dwelling and shook her head sadly. "No, my son," she said, "you will never match your father's greatness. Greatness is not to be found in the slaying of other men, but in the greatness of spirit and the wisdom of the Great Spirit." At this, Huitzilopochtli fell into a terrible rage and struck his mother with closed fist. Mighty as he had become, she was knocked senseless, and he kicked her again as she lay bleeding. The people of the village looked up from the fields below, aghast. Into the family cliff dwelling went Huitzilopochtli, returning with the obsidian mirror held high. He went to Coatliqui where she lay struggling to rise, holding the Tezcatl before her face, the mirrored visage of her face twisting and contorting. Out swirled the smoky tendrils of Tezcatlipoca, rushing into her every orifice as it tore at her bright spirit. "Stop it!" cried Coyotzliak. I better start that.